You ever look at someone and just think, man, they have all the luck? It really feels like some people just glide from one lucky break to the next, while the rest of us are just stuck, right? But what if I told you that luck isn't some random mystical force? What if it's actually a skill? A skill that you can learn? Yeah, we're going to dive into this because the latest neuroscience is completely flipping this idea on its head. So get this, it all kind of starts with this baffling statement from Konosuke Matsushita, the absolute legend who founded Panasonic. When he was hiring, his top priority wasn't intelligence or experience or where you went to school. Nope. He wanted to know if a candidate was lucky. For years, people just kind of shrugged this off as a weird quirk. But what if he was onto something huge? What did he know that the rest of us are just figuring out? I know what you're probably thinking. This sounds a little crazy, doesn't it? I mean, luck is random. It's winning the lottery. It's bumping into an old friend who has a job for you. It's being in the right place at the right time by total accident. It's supposed to be completely out of our control. Or is it? Well, the latest research from behavioral neuroscience is screaming a very loud no. It turns out luck isn't about fate or chance at all. It actually works through these identifiable, predictable patterns in our brain chemistry and our behavior. And here's the best part. These patterns can be learned. It's a trainable skill. Think of it like this. Your brain is basically running on a type of neurological software. The people who seem consistently lucky, they're not being blessed by the universe. They're just running a different program. And it's a program that you can install on your own hardware, starting like right now. So, how do we do it? Okay, first up, we've got to talk about the biology of belief. Let's look at how the story you tell yourself about your own luck physically, literally rewires your brain and changes what you're even capable of seeing in the world around you. This chart breaks down the two different software modes perfectly. The unlucky brain, it's constantly running in threat detection mode. It's scanning for what could go wrong, for dangers, for problems, and in doing that, it literally filters out unexpected opportunities. It makes you blind to serendipity. But the lucky brain defaults to opportunity recognition. It's primed to notice possibilities that the other brain just doesn't even see. And over time, these tiny little perceptual advantages, they compound into what looks from the outside like incredible luck. And you know what's wild? Supporting that lucky brain chemistry is surprisingly biological. Our mood, our resilience, it's all heavily influenced by the neurotransmitter serotonin. And to boost it, you basically need three things. First, get morning sunlight in your eyes to kickstart production. Second, eat foods rich in tryptophan, like fish and eggs. And third, and this is critical, protect your sleep. A regular sleep-wake cycle is key. People with erratic schedules, they suppress serotonin and they elevate the stress hormone cortisol, which forces the brain right back into that paranoid threat detection mode. All right, so that's the biology. The second ingredient is all about motivation. And this comes from following what we'll call your fascination compass, which is really the power of your own genuine interest. No, seriously, take a second. Think about it. What topic, what hobby, what kind of work makes you completely lose track of time? You know, the thing you would happily do even if nobody was paying you a dime for it? That feeling, that's not just a preference. It's a neurological signal pointing you where to go. And here's why that signal is so incredibly important. When you pursue something you are genuinely fascinated by, not what your parents told you to do, not what society says is cool, but what truly lights you up, your brain gets a massive flood of dopamine. Now, this isn't just about feeling good. Dopamine supercharges the circuits of perception and creativity. It makes you way more likely to connect different ideas and spot solutions nobody else sees. You basically become luckier because your brain is just firing on all cylinders. This is why it's so important to just inject a little novelty into your life. You know, these small departures from your routine, trying that new restaurant, taking a different way home from work, striking up a conversation with a stranger, they might seem so trivial, but each one is like buying a ticket in the lottery of serendipity. It's a lottery that people who are stuck in a rigid routine, they never even enter it. Okay, now this next part, this is where things get really counterintuitive. You might think someone who's so focused on their own fascination would be, a little self-centered. But the research shows the exact opposite is true. Welcome to the generosity paradox. Just look at this data from brain imaging studies. It's amazing. When we get a gift or some kind of benefit, yeah, our brain's reward center lights up. Makes total sense. But look what happens when we give authentically with zero expectation of getting anything back. The activation is way, way more powerful. Our brains are hardwired to reward us more for contributing to the group than for just taking from it. And there's a huge long-term payoff here. When you help a colleague or you celebrate a friend's success without being jealous or share what you know freely, you're building something called social capital. You are weaving a network of cooperation and trust. And eventually that network will open doors for you that you never could have predicted, doors you didn't even know were there to begin with. All right, the final piece of the puzzle. This one comes from a totally different field, game theory. It's the persistence principle, and it's really all about the simple, kind of brutal math of just staying in the game. This slide, it says everything, doesn't it? The math is absolutely merciless. The second you quit, the moment you give up on your goal, your probability of future success drops to exactly 0. It's the only way to guarantee failure. And this really gets to the core of how lucky people look at failure. They don't see a setback as some sign from the universe that they should stop. They see it as statistical noise, just a random, inevitable dip in what is an overall upward trend. And because they see it as part of the process, they just refuse to stop. They measure their progress against their own goals, not somebody else's timeline. And this brings us full circle, right back to our friend Konosuke Matsushita. It turns out he wasn't looking for some magical quality. When he asked if a candidate was lucky, he was really asking if they practiced this specific set of habits: an optimistic mindset, healthy biological rhythms, the courage to follow their own curiosity, the wisdom to be generous, and the sheer grit to stay in the game no matter what. And that's really the ultimate takeaway here. Luck is not some passive thing that just happens to you. It's an active process. It's a discipline. It's something you practice quietly and consistently every single day. So as we close this out, the question isn't whether you're a lucky person or not. The real question is, what will you do to practice luck tomorrow? Are you going to get some morning sun? Will you take that different route home? Or maybe you'll reach out and help someone just because you can. The choice, as always, is yours.